guys, it's Tiffany with Spot on Spirit, Psychic, Reiki Master, and Spirit Medium. Thank you for tuning in to this truly insightful video. Keep it rockin' because Todd Gorny of KTBG Radio will be giving us a brief overview of this zodiac sign. Don't go anywhere because JOHN DIVON, aka The Foundation, aka my boyfriend, will be reading an in-depth synopsis of my favorite sign from Linda Goodman's Sun Sign Astrology book. Remember, be original and be you. Beeboobopboo.
Hello, this is Todd Gorny from KTBG Radio, coming at you live 24/7. Keep it rocking, booyah, and my newest one, boom! I want to thank people for listening, and I'm doing the horoscopes from 1 through 12, all the way, all the months. So thank you for listening, and enjoy. Pisces, February 19th through March 20th. Symbol, 2 fish. Ruling planet, Neptune. House ruled, 12th. Element, water. Mode, mutable. Keyword, intuition. Pisces is a watery sign, concerned with subtle emotion and secret, mystical depths. They are friendly and likable, and yet can be very moody and introspective as well. Pisceans are not entirely at home in this world. Pisceans are dreamy and full of imagination, emotionally sensitive, and easily influenced by their environment. Thank you for listening, and if you like what you hear, please share. Hey, this is a special shout out to Philip Daro, who's in a band called Pompous. My thanks to him, and please listen to the band Pompous. PMA, remember those 3 letters because they're important to your life. PMA. Positive mental attitude. If you don't have that, you're missing out on life. Thank you.
Pisces, the fish, February 20th through March 20th. How to recognize Pisces. If you should happen to see a Pisces behind a teller's cage or sitting at a bank president's desk, you'll be viewing a rare kind of fish. Very few of these people can stand being confined for long in one place. You'll have better luck if you wander into a spiritual seance, visit an art gallery, walk through a convent or a monastery, attend a concert, or catch a floor show in a nightclub. You might check an authors league meeting, drop backstage after a play, or try some sunbathing on a yacht. The chances are you'll come up with a pretty good catch in any of those streams of life. The more creative and artistic, the more leisurely and esoteric the surroundings. The more fish you'll find. The net will be full of colorful, shimmering types. If you spread it out at cocktail parties or gala balls, you might even hook a couple of mollies or an exotic species like Princess Lee Radsville. There's little worldly ambition in Neptune people. Most of them wouldn't give a minnow for rank, power, or leadership, and wealth holds little attraction. Few Pisces people accumulate money by the bushel, unless they marry it or inherit it. Mind you, they have nothing against cash. They'll gladly accept any old coins you can't use, but they're more aware than most of us of its temporal qualities. Whoever said, "I don't want to be a millionaire," I just want to live like one, was truly reflecting the Piscean philosophy. The typical Neptune heart is free of greed. There's a lack of intensity, almost a carelessness about tomorrow. There's also an intuitive knowledge of yesterday and a gentle tolerance of today. It's never easy for either real or human fish to struggle and fight their way upstream. It's more common and it takes less effort to go with the current wherever it takes them. But to swim upstream is the challenge of Pisces. And the only way he ever finds true peace and happiness, taking the easy way, is a trap for those born under this sun sign. A glittering bait that entices them while it hides the dangerous hook. A wasted life. You'll be impressed with the Piscean charm of manner and lazy good nature. He's indifferent to most limiting restrictions if they don't rob him of his freedom to dream and feel his way through life. He's even more indifferent to insults, recriminations, and other people's bristling opinions. Tell a Piscean that society is decadent. The government is cracking. Air pollution will put us all in our graves. And the world is coming to a dead stop. And he'll yawn, or smile enchantingly, or look vaguely sympathetic. Very little will excite him to violent action or reaction. Of course, the fish is not completely bland. He does have a temper. When he's finally aroused, he can be bitingly sarcastic, with a clever, caustic tongue. Neptunians can lash their tails angrily and spill forth a torrent of nervous irritability. But the typical Pisces will normally take the path of least resistance, and the cool waters of Neptune continually wash away his anger. To arouse the fish to a display of temper is rather like tossing a pebble into a clear, mirror-smooth lake. You'll create some ripples, but the surface will soon be calm again. When you meet Pisces people, look first at their feet. They'll be quite noticeably small and dainty, including the men's. Or else they'll be huge and spread out like a tired washerwoman's. The Pisces' hands will also be tiny, fragile, and exquisitely formed, or else big ham bones that look as though they belong behind a plow. The skin is silky soft, the hair is fine, often wavy, and usually light. Though you'll find a goodly number of brunette fish, Pisces' eyes are liquid, heavy-lidded, and full of strange lights. Frequently, but not always, they're slightly protruding, bulbous, and extremely compelling. Some Piscean eyes are simply beautiful. There's no other word to describe them. The features are elastic and mobile, and you'll usually find more dimples than wrinkles. Few Pisceans are tall. Neptune bodies are sometimes awkwardly built, but with their extraordinary grace, it's seldom discernible. They seem to sort of flow along, instead of walking, as if they were swimming across the room or down the street. Sometimes they really are. Where's the liquid? It may be nearby, and the fish is attracted to it. It can be a love of ice water, the habit of a dozen cups of tea or coffee a day, a hankering for soda pop, or a yen for something stronger. Like Scorpios and Cancerians, Pisces people are wise to stay miles away from alcohol. Very few Neptunians can have a social cocktail, then leave it alone. There are some naturally, but too many Pisceans find enticing relief from trouble in liquor, It lulls them pleasantly with a false sense of security, and it's a dangerous lullaby. Of course, every Pisces who drinks a cafe doesn't become an alcoholic, but the percentage is higher than it ought to be. The fish was born with the desire to see the world through rose-colored spectacles. He knows well enough about the seamy side of humanity, but he prefers to live his own watery, gentle world where everyone is beautiful and all actions are lovely. If reality becomes too terrible to face, he often escapes into rosy daydreams with powder puff foundations, and not a prayer of coming true. When life dumps him with a splash, a real belly smacker, into a stagnant river of dismal failure and hopeless conditions, instead of leaping out of the murky danger, he's more inclined to hide behind his pale green illusions, which keep him from making practical decisions. The rejected Pisces is too inclined to face the ugliness of failure by deepening his false hopes, when a determined switch of course or some new forceful action might shower him with real instead of imaginary success. Not every March-born person falls into such a typical Neptune trap, but enough of them do to make it a necessary warning. The Pisces writer may be tempted to lounge for years in bars, telling himself he's gathering material, when he's really just gathering moss and unpaid bills. The Pisces artist who can't get the patronage he seeks may stroll through the park, day after day, mumbling into his beard that he's studying nature as a background for his great masterpiece, while his paintbrushes gather dust. Where is the angel who will support him while he splashes canvases with glory? The Piscean woman, left alone with just enough fixed income to keep a roof over her head and a little seaweed in the cupboard, will tend to dream away the hours, tenderly remembering yesterday, hazily hoping for tomorrow, and wasting the bright sunlight of today. The actor, composer, musician, you fill in the stories. You may have read that the Pisces symbol of two fish swimming in opposite directions indicates that the Neptunian is torn by dual desires. It's not so. Dual desires belong to Gemini. The two fish in reversed directions symbolize the choice given Pisces, to swim to the top or to swim to the bottom and never quite reach his goals. Pisces must learn that he is to serve mankind in some way and eschew worldly possessions. Piscean Einstein, who swam upstream, formulated a whole new world of relative time. Pisceans who swim downstream serve by washing dishes or shoveling snow. The choice is always there, because there's never a lack of unusual talent, but the fish, with eyes that see clearly on both sides, sometimes has difficulty seeing straight ahead. Pisces often retreats, either to the sublime heights of a dedicated professional life, or to stimulants, artificial emotions, and false excitement. Although Pisceans shrink from competition, the strong pull of Neptune sends many of them, even the shy ones, toward the bright footlights, where they can use their fabulous powers of interpretation to project myriad emotions. In spite of their natural timidity, they often become some of the finest performers in the theater, but only if they fight their distaste for the hard work of grueling rehearsals and the dullness of the dreary but necessary years of experience. Sometimes the sharp wounds of the critics leave such a scar on sensitive Pisces souls that a potential Barrymore or Bernhardt retires when fame was just ahead. Memorization is seldom a problem. The Pisces memory is legendary, although with an afflicted moon or Mercury they can forget their own telephone numbers. To every Pisces, from the fisherman on the wharf to the nurse in the children's hospital, life itself is a huge stage. In the reflective eye of the fish, the entire scene is elusive and fleeting. Knowing this, Neptunians accept most storms with tranquil equilibrium. Despondency, however, is always threatening to swoop down and bring peculiar dreams or weird nightmares, which are often precognitive. When Pisces has a feeling something will happen, it usually does. If he tells you not to get on that plane or in that car, you'd better plan to swim or walk. Astrologers who speak of an old soul refer to a soul which has gone through many lives, retaining the wisdom of each. Often they refer to Pisces because a life as the fish is either the most difficult obligation a soul can choose or a chance to reach perfect fulfillment. While Aries represents birth in the zodiac, Pisces represents death and eternity. The fish is the 12th sign, a composite of all that's gone before, and his nature is a blend of all the other signs, which is quite a lot to cope with. His surprising ability to organize and concentrate on detail, which pops up now and then, as well as his gentleness, reflects his inner knowledge of the lessons of Virgo. His judgment is as fair and detached as that of Libra, and his love of pleasure is also purely Libran. Pisces people have the crazy sense of fun of Cancer, as well as both the Cancerian sympathy and crabbiness. They're sometimes full of the Sagittarian outspoken frankness and generosity, as fun-loving and outgoing as Leo, yet as devoted to duty as Capricorn, and often just as envious of social distinction. There may also be a smattering of the Saturine melancholy, perhaps more than just a smattering. The fish can be as moody as a moon child and as happy as a lion. He likes to tease and analyze in Aquarian fashion. He's often overflowing with Aries idealism and enthusiasm, but usually without the Mars drive. A Pisces person can zip around with Gemini quickness, talk just as fast, and think just as cleverly. He can also be as lazy and peaceful as Taurus. He has the clever wit of Mercury and the soft grace of Venus. And he combines it with the mystic penetration of Scorpio, without the Scorpio's ruthlessness. Pisces holds within himself the fondness of debate of all the air signs, the love for nature of all the earth signs, and the flaming aspirations of all the fire signs. But he is neither fixed nor cardinal. The fish is mutable always. In this respect, he is undiluted. The one and only quality which originates with his own sign is his strange power to stand outside himself and see yesterday, today, and tomorrow as one.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Jay Fratt of the Conservative Hippie Podcast. I just wanted to give you a quick breather. While in just a moment, we're going to get you back to the smooth audio recording from JOHN DIVON, reading about the best zodiac sign of the bunch, your zodiac sign, from Linda Goodman's Sun Sign Astrology book. It's crazy to find all these unique areas that relate to you and your sun sign. Please take a moment when you finish listening to leave a comment with a few traits you identify with your zodiac sign. And if you like what you're hearing, subscribe, like, and share. JOHN DIVON has also been featured reading some of the zodiac signs for Stoner Horoscopes at stonerhoroscopes.com. They're uploaded at the beginning of each month for all 12 of the zodiac signs. And yep, They even make it into a podcast, available on iTunes and Google Play. I would like to take a moment to thank him for his friendship and time that he invests to share all the rich goodness with you fine people. I would also like to thank him for joining me on the Conservative Hippie podcast. John has been a guest twice on the Conservative Hippie podcast. You can find those episodes on iTunes, Google Play, and at theconservativehippie.com. Well, thanks again for listening, and I hope to see or hear from you. I want to finish my brief intermission with a shout out to Todd Gorny of KTBG Radio, Tiffany, the Reiki Master Psychic Medium found at Spot On Spirit, and the one and only Adora Zen, writer of Stoner Horoscopes, found on Twitter at Adora Zen. Always remember to be original, be you, Beeboobopboo. And now back to your listening pleasure. Enjoy.
The one and only quality which originates with his own sign is his strange power to stand outside himself and see yesterday, today, and tomorrow as one. The Piscean love of music and art, and his highly developed senses and versatility he owes to other signs, but his deep wisdom and compassion belong only to him, culled from the combined knowledge of every human experience. Now that you understand all that, is it any wonder that your Pisces friends are a bit of a puzzle at times? Not to mention being outright kooky oddballs on occasion. Pisceans tend to think they can live forever, and they often act as though they believed it fervently. The fish typically doesn't take very good care of himself. Chances are he spends most of his excess energy, and he doesn't have too much to spare, helping relatives in trouble or taking on the burdens of friends. Their troubles can be emotional or financial, but either can be a serious drain on Piscean health, which is rarely robust to begin with. The fish must conserve his energy and refrain from succumbing to the stimulants or sedatives, fatigue and other people's emergencies, weakest as infants, seldom sturdy as children, unless there's a strong Mars influence in the natal chart. Pisces people seem to have slow metabolisms, which is why they often wake up sleepy-eyed and listless. Poor eating habits can bring troubles with liver and intestinal functions and digestive troubles, accidents too, or some abnormalities of the feet, hands, or hips are common. Also colds, flu, and pneumonia. The lungs are not strong, and weak toes and ankles may result from March births. The fish seem to have fallen arches and metatarsal injuries of superbly strong and supple feet. There's no in-between. They have a hidden inner resistance, however, and one of the challenges of Neptune is to discover this latent strength and call on it. Pisceans can literally hypnotize themselves into or out of anything they choose, including fear of cats, mice, heights, subways, elevators, and people. Humor is one of their secret weapons. Pisceans grin to cover unshed tears. They're masters of satire, and you may cringe from a bright remark thrown at you so casually that you're unable to pin down the exact meaning or the intent, yet you'll have a decidedly uncomfortable feeling. The fish can scatter caustic observations around like flashing lights, which wink on and off so fast you can't keep up with them. He's an excellent practical joker, great at pulling hilarious lines while he keeps his own elastic face mournful and straight. He can move gracefully from slapstick to brittle, sophisticated jokes. Sometimes the fun is warm and harmless, Sometimes it's cold and merciless, but it's always a cover for another emotion the fish wants to hide, seldom spontaneous of itself. Pisces wears his laughs as a mask, and they disguise him well. There's a great feeling of pity and a desire to help the sick and weak. Pisces may share compassion for the ill with Virgo, but he takes the extra step to try to understand the hearts of the burdened and the friendless, the failures and the misfits, no matter how weird or how rejected by society. The fish will gently comfort those whom Virgo feels are weak by choice and therefore undeserving. If you need a dime or a dollar, a large loan, or just a small encouragement that no one else would give, go to Pisces. You'll get no lectures or no glances of superiority. He judges no man, thief, murderer, addict, pervert, sinner, saint, hypocrite, or liar. Greed, lust, sloth, and envy will bring no critical wrath. If he's a typical Neptunian, his understanding overflows, along with whatever practical help he's able to offer. He senses every vice and virtue, and he knows each pitfall. Many fish, for this reason, don the robes of the priest or monk and spend their lives in prayer or contemplation. To help his first instinct, there are Pisces people who are crusty and brusque. But it's only a fragile shell, worn for protection. The fish soon learns how vulnerable he is. The world is not yet tuned to the sensitive Piscean wavelength. So to avoid ridicule, as well as to avoid being indifference, the impositions of those who would trample him force the fish to hide his true spirit, since the depth of Neptune's waters causes him to absorb every pain and joy as if they were his own. It's little wonder many Pisceans pretend disinterest in hearing sad stories. But remember that they are pretending. If you've been rebuffed once, try twice, and the real fish will surface. The glorious Piscean imagination, their marvelous elfin humor, and the Neptunian sense of beauty can create the most delicate yet eternally lasting prose and poetry. Indeed, the world couldn't do without their artistic efforts and their gentle compassion for a moment. It would stop spinning. You'll frequently find fish who have buried their personal dreams to brighten odd corners of the lives of relatives and friends, or to bring the gift of tears and laughter to the public through the stage, at the cost of the privacy Pisces seeks and needs. Yet Neptune is a deceptive planet, capable of giving birth to natures that twist and turn in two directions at once, distorting the truth and influence, which often causes Pisces to hide his real emotions. This thespian quality is obvious if you've ever tried to pin down the elusive flashing fish. He hates to answer a direct question with a yes or a no. It's always maybe. A simple curiosity about what play he just saw or what he just read can bring an evasive answer for no reason in particular. He can turn on tears, then turn on sunshine by pressing another invisible switch. Neither is truly real. All is illusion with Pisces, and they find it hard to tell the difference themselves. Their internal nature is as unfathomable as Neptune's great oceans. The altruistic fish is filled with an inexhaustible, tender love for every living creature, which is truly saint-like when it's not turned inward in self-pity or self-love. Typically, Piscean are the gregarious housewives with hearts big enough for the troubles of all the neighbors, and the patient bartenders who listen sympathetically to hundreds of tales of woe each week. Hanging somewhere between the silent waters of the sea, below the vast, star-studded mist above, only barely touching the earth from necessity, Pisces lives his life in lonely understanding of truth too deep to express in words. Those who want him for a friend, those who love him, must use their imagination to grasp the strange planes of his mind and emotions. The other two water signs, Scorpio and Cancer, are symbolized by half-land, half-water creatures, amphibious and flexible. But the fish can't breathe air. He must live in cool green water, sometimes muddy, always moving. Pisces is represented not by iron or mercury or gold or lead, but by the vibrations of the indefinable artificial metals. Again, an echo of the unreal and the illusionary. He sees his reflection in 3 dimensions in the violet amethyst and the clear emerald, and his natal flowers are the water lily and the lotus. Their blossoms are pink and white and delicate, but their stems and leaves are made of strong fibers, tough and indestructible unless they're torn up by the roots. Few can follow Pisces and probe his aquamarine nature, whether he swims downstream to oblivion, just another lashing speck in the large, moving school of fish, or fights his way upstream to conquer the swift current and find serenity in pure waters. He is stronger than he thinks, and wiser than he knows. But Neptune guards this secret until he discovers it for himself.
Be original and be you. Beeboobopboo.